at the Irish Independent, and I'm just looking to have a very quick chat with somebody off the record about a story I'm working on about a pro-life demo in Limerick. I was having a look, and you were the first group that came up for pro-life activism in Limerick. I don't know if you're the only group down there or if there's other ones, but I'm just trying to find out if you yourself have been involved in any of the demonstrations outside the Maternity Hospital, or if you can direct me to somebody else who has been involved in them so far.
Oh, Ellen Coyne, is it?
Yeah.
Irish Independent. And why would you say there's demonstrations outside the Maternity Hospital? I'm just curious to know that.
We have pictures of them here.
Have you? I've been looking for pictures myself because I've heard about it, and the Maternity Hospital themselves said there was actually no one reported anything or any interference with them.
Well, I'll just stop you there. I just spoke to somebody from the hospital who confirmed that they have been happening.
Okay. And when have they happened?
Well, this is the issue. So a statement has been put out. A group has made a claim that somebody in the hospital has been passing on information to anti-abortion activists about when terminations have been taking place, because the demonstrations outside the hospital have only happened on days when a termination was scheduled, which obviously wouldn't be every day in a hospital in Limerick. So there's some concern about whether or not that's true. So I'm just trying to speak to somebody. It's not going to be quoted in the newspaper. I'm not even going to mention that I was talking to a specific group, but I'm just trying to find out if that is correct, or if there is a reason why people happen to be showing up on the only days when a termination is planned.
Okay. Yeah, no, because I wasn't aware of any. I know there's a prayer group that does a round, and they've been doing it since long before the abortion referendum. They've been doing at the hospital, yeah, at the Maternity Hospital, and they pray the rosary going around the outside of it. And I know that a couple of people were posting. There was 2 nuns joined them there a while back, and I think one of them had a Love Both umbrella, and they had claimed that was the protest. Is that what you're referring to? That picture?
I don't know if it's the same picture. I haven't seen a picture of the umbrella, but I have heard about it. But would you have any...
Well, no, you were saying, Ellen, you said you had pictures of the protests, and this is something that's I've seen it in the media loads of time. I've seen local councillors, particularly Conor Sheehan and Eliza O'Donovan, mention it, but no pictures forthcoming, except for that one picture with the Love Both umbrella and the nun near the entrance. And
So the Love Both umbrella was with a prayer group.
Was with the prayer group, yeah, and they actually don't engage with people. They walk around the outskirts, and they have been doing that for years. They've been doing it before the referendum, and you know, they still do it now. And they walk around the outskirts of the hospital.
Do you know anybody in the prayer group or somebody who might be happy to take a call, again, off the record, not to do an interview in the paper or anything like that, but just to try to help us find out what's going on? Because obviously we've got this press release from a group in Limerick. The hospital has been made aware of it. I think a complaint has gone in to the Department of Health, so we're kind of in a position now where we have to try to find out what's going on. So I'd love to try to speak to somebody who's involved in, I don't know, if some people are characterising it as a protest, and maybe to other people it's a vigil.
But they're not stationary, you see. This is the problem, Ellen. They're not stationary, and they don't go into the grounds. They walk around the outskirts, and they've been doing that for years. I think nearly 20 years they've been doing that, and they're praying for the welfare of the mothers and babies in there.
But you can just understand how if they happen to only be there on days when terminations are apparently scheduled to be carried out.
You have verified that, have you?
No, that's what I'm trying to do now. That's why I'm calling you. Because I'm trying to find out what's going on. Like, this has been brought to the attention of the Department of Health. The hospital are now looking into it, so we're just trying to find out exactly what's going on. The reason I'm calling you is because we would never put something like that in the paper unless we found out it was true.
Really?
And well, are you telling me there's something on the Irish Independent right now saying that is the case?
No, but as a commentary on journalism in general and newspapers, that's exactly what you tend to do, is you tend to run with a story and...
just cut you off right there, because I would not call you giving you a commentary on how to do pro-life activism.
No, not at all.
You can kind of save your views on Irish journalism, because it really is none of my business. I'm literally just trying to do my job. I'm asking you if you have a contact for somebody in the vigil group, because I'm doing exactly what you claim that journalists don't do, which is do our research and find out.
And you know what, Ellen, fair play to you, but you came across saying there was a protest, there is confirmation, and then you have pictures to prove it. And I was just curious because I have been anxious to get a picture of these protests. They don't seem to be anywhere available online, or when people make the claims that there's protests outside there. The hospital eventually said, look, we don't have any complaints coming from anybody about protests. We're not aware of any protests outside. And the only photo I could find was on Twitter. And that was being of the two nuns with one of them had an umbrella, and as they happened to be close to the entrance of the hospital. But like I said, they walk along the outskirts. They walk all around the front, from the front all around the back and back again. You know.
Well, I was speaking to someone from the hospital who said that there has been a protest. If there's an issue here with, a subjective view about whether something is a protest or a vigil, we can have a long discussion about that at some other point. Perhaps I'll just use the phrase gathering. There was a gathering outside the hospital. The hospital is aware of it. There appears to be a gathering every day that a termination is scheduled. A very serious claim has been made, so we're trying our best to get to the bottom of it.
Yes, fair enough.
Very slow reaction from the HSE. It's very difficult to get information out of the Department of Health and the hospital, so I thought it would just be easier to get in touch with this vigil prayer group directly. Do you know if they have a contact, an email, a phone number, somebody who, or if you even want to get in touch with them?
I would probably, before I give anyone's number to anybody, I would get in touch with them first to see if they were okay to speak with you. That would be only fair. I know nothing about any of the protests outside the maternity hospital. I've never been outside the maternity hospitals. The only time I've been near the maternity hospitals when my own children were even born. So I'm not aware. But I was aware about the prayer groups that goes around the hospital. They're mostly elderly women.
And had you heard anything before today about this claim that?
Oh, I had. That's what I said to you. I had heard, and I'd heard it was being made on the radio here locally and in the press locally, and then eventually the hospital did issue a statement to say that they weren't aware of any protests going on outside. Councillor Conor Sheehan and Councillor Eliza O'Donovan in particular, they have a motion there before the council there, I think it was last July, saying they needed safe zones outside the hospital because of the protests. But again, all the articles that accompanied their press releases, none of them showed a protest of any kind. So you have actual pictures of protests outside the hospital?
I mean, we do. I can have a look. Maybe what is being described by the hospital as a protest would be viewed by you as a vigil or a prayer group. But I mean, that seems to be a differing of personal interpretation.
If people are holding signs that say a statement, for example, some pro-life kind of statement, life begins at conception, or some outrageous statement like that. If someone puts that on a sign and is standing outside the hospital, then that would be really, I suppose you could consider that a protest. So that's what I was trying to clarify. Have you got pictures with placards and people standing around in a line holding the placards? For example, there's a protest on the Crescent flyover, not related to abortion now, but it's related to the lockdown and stuff, of people that are holding yellow signs that are there every Sunday. I would call that a kind of a protest because they're standing in a row with their signs for people to read. So that's is that what you have pictures of?
I mean, I'll have to go back and have a look at them. If you're saying that you believe that people gathering only holding rosary beads or...
Well, they're not gathering. As I explained, these people don't stand still. They move around and they don't approach people coming or going from the... It was claimed as well that they're harassing women coming to and from the maternity hospital. I believe that was in the Limerick Post. I think it was either Councillor Conor Sheehan or Councillor Eliza Donovan made those claims.
Okay, well, if you were able to have a chat with somebody from the prayer group and see if they'd be okay to have a discussion, and if you could just make it clear to them that there's no, it's not off the record, it's just a background conversation. They don't have to give their name, they don't have to have their picture taken, and they don't have to have any quotes in the newspaper.
Yeah.
It's just for information. It would be really helpful. And I don't know what's happening at the moment with this investigation by the hospital or the Department of Health, but as I said, we're we're just trying to get to the bottom of it, because the claim that patient data is being shared is obviously quite serious. So we just have to.
Oh, well, that is a that would be a serious claim, all right, absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a claim that's being made, and apparently it has been made directly to Stephen Donnelly's office. So we're just trying to find out exactly what's going on at the moment. I mean, maybe if there is a prayer group gathering, it's conceivable that it might just be a coincidence that they happen to be there on days when terminations are scheduled, but it's just something that everybody has to try to verify at the moment.
As far as I know, they do it every other Saturday. It's kind of like every second Saturday that they would have their prayers. And they, like I said, to call it a gathering, they're not stationary. They move around and they walk. Say their rosary as they walk around the perimeter of on the public footpath of the hospital. And the one photograph that I've managed to see of that was when two nuns from the Philippines joined them, and one of them had a Love Boat umbrella because it was raining. They had it up. So that was the closest thing you could say to a pro-life sign that was being held, but it was an umbrella belonged to the nun. So again, and they were close to the drive-in main entrance, but like again on the public street, and they were actually walking. But in the photograph, of course, they're stationary.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just wanted to know, is that what you're... obviously, can you answer me straight here on this? Have you got pictures of people standing outside that hospital holding banners and placards?
I've told you I don't have the photo here in front of me. So
Okay, well, you said you saw the photos. From memory, can you recall?
Well, I don't remember seeing one with a Love Boat umbrella, so I think we're talking about different pictures.
Okay,
I'll
possibly.
have a look for you and try to find out, but if you could just pass on my details to the individual group, I'd really appreciate it.
I will, of course. Listen, Ellen, I will indeed.
Okay, thanks so much for your time.
Okay, Slán.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.